Lumberjacks is sponsored by Echo, only professional grade with 5-year warranty. Crown, protect, maintain, save. Dickies, quality workwear since 1922. Yamaha, rev your heart.
Just down the St. John River from Bath, New Brunswick, we have the world's longest covered bridge. It measures in at 1,282 feet, and yes, it is in the Guinness Book of World Records. We're here on Labor Day weekend for the Trevors Goodine Lumberjack competition, now in its 3rd year. Hi, I'm Bill Diva with my co-host, Lumberjack sport analyst Rod Cumberland. Rod, we got a lot of great competitors this weekend. The Hot Saw event, a lot of different engines here.
Lots of different engines, of course, are being manufactured by Dennis Cahoon on the West Coast, Jean-Simon Bertrand, who's actually a transplanted Quebecer, now living on the West Coast. And in the East, we have Scott Reed and Ken Hiltz building lots of saws for lots of guys. There's a pile of them here. That one is going to be a dogfight to the end.
Now we're going to change pace a little bit slower, but it's the women's single buck event. We got a couple of past Canadian champions, a current Canadian champion. Who do you like in that one?
Yeah, again, it's going to be a great race in the women's single buck, but I bet you Kelly Bonus is going to wind up at the top of the heap.
Hey, there's lots of great things to see here in the heart of potato country here in New Brunswick. Before the longest covered bridge in the world was built, the only way across the St. John River and the St. John River Valley was by ferry. Plans and specifications of the bridge began in 1898, and the bridge was constructed in 1901 by the Heartland Bridge Company. We're in Bath, New Brunswick, just down the road from Florenceville, which is the heart of McCain Company, and we had a great start to the competition the last couple of weeks. Right now we got Cumberland, Dupuis, and Cumberland leading the board, and Berlin Nickerson and Ryan McIntyre hot in their heels. We're going to be getting started with the underhand chop. In total, we'll be showing you the top 4 heats. His first heat, Mike Esch and Donald Lambert.
Well, they're chopping 12 inches of round aspen. We know it's pretty rugged wood here. Mike Esch, of course, he's a white pine specialist. Going to give his axes a real workout in this tougher poplar wood.
And the tougher poplar wood certainly means they got to keep their lines and stay on their mark, that's for sure. Look at the grain on Donald Lambert's wood.
Bad block for Donald, but he's doing a good job with it. Mike Esch already down to side number 2. His axes are loving this wood. He's doing a good job here getting into the small wood. Mike Esch is going to be driving it off here before long.
And look at the difference in the blocks here. Mike Esch has got a melon, and Donald Lambert is really struggling with a block, that's for sure. Look at the grain on Donald as Mike Esch comes in with a 27.63 in the first heat of the underhand chop. So you did that in 10 and 14. Well, if you count the last one, maybe 15 strokes in the back end. Were you hoping maybe for a 10 and 12?
Yeah, I was thinking 10 and 12. I didn't get the front under as far as I thought I did, and I kind of took a couple half-hearted hits at the end. A good hard one would have done the job a lot better.
And Rod, you know it's important to be able to reach the bottom of the block, and you can't always see what wood has to be cut at the bottom of the block.
It's hard to do, and of course, usually the college kids struggle a lot with that, but in a bigger wood or tougher wood, that's you have to reach the bottom of the block. As we get set to go here, Ben Cumberland taking on Berlin Nickerson, who Ben having trouble here falling off the block. Both these guys look like they have good wood.
Well, it looks like a big brown spot there in the middle of Ben's log, and Berlin Nickerson and Ben Cumberland turning us almost exact same time.
Ben having a hard time with his balance here. He hasn't spent a lot of time in the wood pile this summer. Berlin Nickerson, though, has spent a lot of time practicing and going to shows. As Ben opens up to more of this ugly wood, Berlin Nickerson's putting the final touches on.
And both guys drive off at the exact same time. It's going to be too tough to call.
Yeah, but I think Berlin Nickerson got him by a whisker.
It was a good race with Berlin Nickerson there. I counted 12 and 12. Pretty much part of your plan, but just tell me about losing your balance. Seemed a little bit off balance.
Yeah, I just lost my balance off the first 2 swings on the front side. Then turning around, I turned a little too quickly and just kind of, thankfully my axe was in the wood, so I kind of leaned on my axe to keep me up.
Well, that's a good way to use an axe there when you're about to lose your balance. Not be able to fall off the log like that by holding yourself on with the axe was a real handy move there by Ben Cumberland. As we head into heat number 4, Nathan Cumberland taking on Marcel Dupuis. A constant battle between these two guys.
They've been battling it out here at the Trevors Goodine Lumberjack competition. Here they are in the underhand chop. This is Marcel's sweet discipline. He's got a nice block. Looks like Nathan has a nice block. Oh, he leaves a big wall of wood in the front.
And both those guys make their turn at the exact same time. Both on their backside right now, stroke for stroke, trying to take down a 27.25 of Berlin Nickerson. Nathan puts his drivers in and he wins the underhand chop in a 19.75, and Marcel's gonna be disappointed with his 25 seconds. You know, when you look at the wood at the beginning of the day, you know, you're testing your axes, you're looking at the wood, studying the wood. Just tell me about your axe selection in that event.
For all the events that the guys use for their chopping, they typically bring 3, maybe 4 to 5 axes.
I would tested all my axes beforehand. This axe I was using today, it's a half-inch chisel. Dupuis did an excellent job on it, and it cut the wood really well.
Well, there it is. The underhand chop at the Trevors Goodine Lumberjack competition is now in the books. Nathan Cumberland, the class of the field, 5.5 seconds ahead of second place.
I've been in the woods all my life. I went to the woods before I went to school with Father on the horse and sled. At UNB, I was captain of the team for 3 years, and in 1965 was our third trip in my time to McDonald College, and we won the competition. And I needed a partner, and so I asked for Francis Goodine from Plaster Rock, and he never batted an eye and said sure. And we were together for over 20 years. We did okay, did good, and that fall I organized with the Lions Club in Plaster Rock. I organized the provincial competition, and was held on Saturday after Labor Day. And that first competition, I forget who won the overall, but I remember Francis won the bucksaw, and I won the chopping. To have a competition named after Frank and I is probably what most lumberjacks would like to want in their lifetime.
And what a fantastic honor for Joe Trevors and Francis Goodine to be having a lumberjack competition named after you here in Bath, New Brunswick, the third annual event, which is part of a larger balloon festival. We are heading into the women's single buck. We're going to be showing you the top two heats. This first heat, Alicia Schroeder taking on Janet Walker.
Well, Alicia just new at this event, the single buck, so she's doing a good job here, but she's got her hands full with Janet Walker. Janet's a veteran in the single buck event. She's doing a great job here, running just like a machine back and forth in the single buck.
Nice and steady there on the right-hand side for Janet Walker, being coached by Jeff Larkin. Alicia struggles a little bit there, catches a raker, and twice just started to get a little bit tired there, and really struggling with the saw now.
She is, but boys, her saw's cutting quite well. Janet Walker's saw doesn't look like it's cutting quite as fast, but Janet's got a really good pace, did a great job, and Janet Walker sets a time to beat in the women's single buck with a 28.6.
Tell me about a little bit what you saw. Is that custom made for you, the length and the actual sharpening of it?
No, I borrow it. I don't have my own.
Tell me about your cut then, because it was pretty flawless. No hanging rakers and a good pace all the way through.
Yeah, in single you're supposed to use as much as the saw as you can, but when the wood is smaller, if you have a long saw, if you push too far out over the edge, then you can hang. So I just went for not quite using the whole saw, went for speed.
Well, Janet Walker is a veteran competitor. She certainly knows what she could have done to go faster. In my opinion, she probably could have just gone faster by picking up the pace. Her saw wasn't dropping as quickly as maybe she wanted it to. In that case, pick up the speed a little bit. This next heat, the last heat, Caitlin Carroll taking on Kelly Bonus, trying to beat 28.64.
Well, the two to watch in the single buck right now, Caitlin Carroll on your left, Kelly Bonus on your right. I know Kelly Bonus is really getting the hang of this Dupuis saw here that she's using on the right. Shorter, quicker strokes here, but Caitlin Carroll, nice big long strokes, just as Jeff wants her to do, as they both get into the small wood. Oh, Kelly has two hang-ups in a row.
It's going to be a tough time to beat, 28.64. Both girls getting into the small wood right now, and Kelly Bonus wins the women's single buck with a 24.82, just edging out Caitlin Carroll. You had a great start there with a lot of good pace. Just tell me about the kinds of things that go wrong when you start to run out of gas.
When you start to run out of gas, your saw, you're not weighting it properly, so it'll drop. The front end will drop because your arms are getting tired. That's what happened in my cut a couple times, and I hung up a little bit, so.
Well, it definitely wasn't a perfect single buck by a long shot. Kelly Bonus with 3 hang-ups still manages to edge out the rest of the field with a 24.82.
Closed captioning is brought to you by 1867 Confederation Log and Timber Frame, Canada's leader in log and timber frame homes since 1979. This is living.
Well, always one of the most exciting events in any lumberjack competition towards the end of the day is the water boil competition. I know, Rod, you call it the kettle boil. We have 13 pair competitors here. Sometimes we see it as a doubles event. Sometimes we see it as a singles event here in Bath, New Brunswick. It is a doubles event. And the door is now open because one of the best water boilers around, Scott Reed from Nova Scotia, he's actually judging it. The Maritime Lumbers Association, the guys often take turns in judging the events and taking part of the events.
So we've seen actually for the camera pan here, all the teams that are hooked up. The Cumberland brothers are together. Here's Berlin Nickerson and Marcel Dupuis teamed up. Then we have some of the UNB boys. I see we have David Patrickin and Ryan McIntyre, Dougie Armsworthy with Ryan Cameron. And then we have some veterans. We have Roger McPhee and Louis Bork. Yeah, that's a good partner to grab a hold of because Louis is a great kettle boiler.
Well, it's a great competition to watch here, and what's always so exciting for the competitors is that they're going head-to-head against each other throughout the field. We got 13 pair of competitors. One of the keys here, Rod, is you got to get a lot of shavings. We know that.
Get a shavings and get them lit. The faster you get your kettle on, the more heat to the bottom of the can, the faster it usually boils. You see the girls here from NSAC having a hard time getting their block split, so of course they're not even into the shavings yet. The key is, I think this is Ben Cumberland here, you got to get the shavings going quick.
And some people take the shavings, I know, Rod, you preach, you take the shavings from the outside of the block. Those girls were trying to split open their block to take the shavings from inside of the block. What is the advantage of taking the shavings from outside the block?
Well, we're seeing it right there, right? They can't get the block split, so they're way behind right off the bat. You take your shavings from the outside right off the bat, nothing slowing you down. You'll be the first person to get the shavings made and get your fire going.
And the team of Finley and Swanimer are still trying to get their block open there. Rod, you got to chime in there and tell them to take the shavings from the outside of the block.
Well, that's what these guys here are doing. The UMB boys that I've coached and the Ranger School guys all are doing that same technique. Their fires are already up and going here. We see there's the famous Bern LeBlanc. He's with Smoking Joe Bro, and they're just trying to get their fire started here right now as well.
And there's a veteran pair of Louis Bork and Roger McPhee working together. Rod, you tell me this is the first time they've worked together over all these years in the fire build. First time we see them, there's Louis building the fire.
Well, I've boiled against Louis a lot in my lifetime, and I'll tell you, Louis is great competition in the kettle boil. Also depends on the type of a day. Now, this is a nice, dry, sun-filled day, so they don't have to worry about the water or rain at all. So all they got to do really, if the wood is nice and dry, get it going as fast as you can. This is really good kiln-dried wood, and you see the fire's taking off quickly, so that's a ticket. Get it built, get down there. Now Larkin's down already, starting to blow.
Well, and the best thing about the water boil is you can have a young girl like Caitlin Cumberland, which is about 15, 16 years old, taking on an older guy like Louis Bork and Roger McPhee, both guys in their 70s.
That's right, and now all fair is fair in kettle boil. See the Cumberland's fire there in the background, it's all built up, so now all these fires are built now. Everybody's fires are built. Now they got to put the oxygen to them and try to really get them taken off, so everybody's going to be down now on their hands and knees, blowing hard, trying to get these fires really smoking.
And everybody knows about the secret of closing the fire in and closing the can in. You got to keep the heat in and build up the heat along the sides of the cans. You see everybody working that exact same strategy. Now who's going to get their fires to build hotter and to burn faster?
If you look at the size of the fires right now, you see Cumberland's fire not too bad. Marcel and Berlin's look like they're a little bit behind now, but the oxygen, you watch how the oxygen changes things here in the next minute or so to see who actually boils over first. See these guys, look at the pair of Larkin and Connor here blowing back and forth, back and forth. Look at theirs taking off. There's a great example.
And there's nothing else to do at this point. You've used all your wood, you've got it all placed properly, you may as well add the oxygen. That's the only thing you can remain to do. And look at Jeff Larkin just laying the blows to it.
Well, you got to do it right now. Put all the oxygen you can because there's not much else you can do. This is another good technique that Louis has, sliding stuff underneath because most of the fuel that you have underneath is already burned up now. So great idea by Louis Bork that may pay off here in the end.
So you've got the sides of the can covered. If you've got any wood left over and all the shavings are burnt out from beneath, you take that wood and you stick it underneath because you want more heat from below as well.
The other challenge right now, of course, is the fires are so hot you can't get close enough to blow on them. This is where I like to sit back and use my hat. As look at that, Marcel Dupuis and Berlin Nickerson are going to take first place in the kettle boil with a time of 3 minutes and 14 seconds.
So let's start with Marcel. You got a new partner here. Your typical partner is judging here today, so Paul Woodland not available. Tell me about that.
Oh, yeah, he's not available, so Berlin asked if he wanted, if I could go with him, and I said, oh, perfect, yeah, absolutely. So Berlin's a great partner, so I'm glad I had him.
Today we took a totally different strategy. We went with a new coach, Lucas Nickerson. We just done what he told us to do, and it worked out today. So, we beat a team of 30 people here today, and all thanks to, young ideas.
Power on and on. Echo. Today I'm going to talk about personal protection equipment while using a chainsaw and the importance of why you should wear it. Chainsaws run at a very high RPM and the chains are very sharp and can cause serious harm to the operator if not used properly. Today for demonstration purposes, I got my buddy Wayne here who has all of his personal protection equipment to run a chainsaw. He has his Echo helmet system on. He's got his helmet's gonna protect his head. He's got his debris shield that is gonna protect his face. And he also has his earmuffs that is gonna protect his hearing. Wayne also has his Echo chainsaw gloves on. That's gonna help with vibration. It's also gonna help with grip on the saw and protect his hands. One of the most important parts of chainsaw PPE is the chaps. The chaps are going to protect him from his waist down, and the internal fibers in the chaps, if that saw blade is to come in contact with the chaps, are gonna lock up that sprocket system in the barn chain and stop that chainsaw in its tracks. The last thing that Wayne has on is he has his Echo chainsaw boots on. These are steel toe boots and are gonna protect his feet if anything was to fall on them. Now that he has all of his personal protection equipment in place, he can get to work and he's gonna make it home safe and sound.
We are heading now into the hot saw here at the Trevors Goodine Lumberjack competition, now in his 3rd annual event. We're gonna be showing you the top 5 heats of the hot saw. This first heat, Ryan McIntyre taking on Ben Cumberland. It's 3 cuts within 6 inches, and it's 17 inches round of white pine.
So there's 4 guys running in this heat. We're gonna be watching Ben and Ryan as Ben has struggles here right off the bat getting the saw started. So does Ryan. Ben's the first guy to get it started. He's on cut number 2. Oh, and he messes up his 3rd one.
And Ben Cumberland sets a time to beat 11.51 despite the fact that he struggled through it, and Ryan McIntyre's taking a DQ. Last we spoke was Toronto, Nova Scotia in the hot saw. He struggled a little bit then to like a 29 seconder or something like that. A little bit better than 29 seconds today, but what happened on the start, first of all?
Oh, I just kind of underestimated the 30 seconds that was left for the warm-up. The saw warmed up great, but then when I was trying to wind it back up, it wasn't going back in the slot for it. So anyway, I just had to put my hands on the wood, and when he said go, I kind of wound it up the rest of the way and let it rip.
Well, all those sort of things come with experience. I know Ben's going to be disappointed with 11.51 as we head into heat number 2. Couple of fast saws here. We got Scott Reed who builds his own saws, taking on Berlin Nickerson.
Talk about disappointments. Berlin's had a hard time getting a good run in, and Scott's machine blew up at the start of the year. He has a hard time getting in the wood. Berlin Nickerson throws a chain.
And Scott Reed wins the heat with a 7.09, but what's going to happen to Berlin? He's taking a DQ as well. Just tell me what that feels like. I mean, you're going really well. The machine was running well. You're telling me it's not operator error. Just walk me through what happens when a chain breaks like that.
So essentially, I just got the saw tuned up and got a little more power going into her. I upped my octane and done a few things. So it might have just been a little too much power for the chain. And 3,000 moving parts on the saw, and this little sucker right here broke on me. So that's what happened.
Well, Berlin's disappointed, but he's still smiling. It's all in fun. He had a struggle through that one with a chain breaking. Well, he'll be at it next time. Next heat is going to be Mike Esch versus Donald Lambert. The time to beat now is 7.09, set by Scott Reed in the last heat.
Well, we're going to watch 2 crafty veterans here at the hot saw right now. Don Lambert, the Rico man from Quebec. Look at this smooth operator. 3 on the deck in no time at all, 5.1.
And a great time by Mike Esch as well, clocking in at 5.73. You got around 5 seconds somewhere on there, but you're thinking that's not going to win.
Well, one point of time, well, I run it quite well, so pretty happy with the cookies. So they were quite thin, so complete thin, and but well, it should be a little bit quicker than that, though.
Well, he's hedging his bets there with a 5.12 that he's not going to win. We got a couple of great stories coming up. World record holder Paul Woodland taking on Marcel Dupuis. Is anybody here going to go under 5, Rod?
No question at all. $500 on the line, and Paul Woodland's here with his fast saw. Look at this. He's making no mistakes at all. Oh, what about that? A photo finish between him and Marcel.
And Paul Woodland comes in with a 4.6. Still waiting for the results to come in because the timers are over there conferring and writing down the score sheets. It's an average of 2 times, of course. Really good race there. Just tell me about your run.
Well, it went quite well, actually. Like, no mistakes. Good quick start and thin cookies, straight.
So just tell me about your saw again.
Well, that saw actually belongs to Ken Hills. I went down and picked it up last Sunday. Big money on the line today, so one of the biggest motor I could get.
What's the size of the motor?
370.
And how many horsepower?
93.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
We are heading into the last heat of the hot saw. The time has been lowered to 4.65, and that is the time to beat. Nathan Cumberland taking on Trevor Schofield in this last heat.
Well, both these guys aren't really as seasoned of veterans as Paul Woodland and the Rico man. Both of them with decent saws, but not quite the horsepower that we saw in the first 2 heats.
And Trevor missed his upcut in the second cut there. He finishes off, but he's going to have 3 incomplete discs. Trevor Schofield's going to take a DQ. Now, your older brother ran that saw a little bit earlier. What did you go to school on for that?
I guess the biggest difference between Ben and I is just before they went to say go for him, his starter cord fell off. The starter cord that we have, you wrap it around the side of the saw, and it just happened to fall over him. So when they said go, he had to take that extra couple seconds and wrap it up. Mine, I'm more familiar with running the saw. Ben typically runs our smaller one, so I had the presence of mind to just tighten the cord up just a little bit before I went to go.
Now you get pretty aggressive with that saw on those down cuts. You're a big boy. Just tell me about how aggressive can you get with it?
We had this already built, so I can't get quite as aggressive as I used to, but on the last part of my third cut, I said, may as well go for it, and I gave it everything I had, so.
What a thrilling way to end a competition here at the Trevors Goodine Lumberjack competition. Just over a second separating the top 4 competitors in the hot saw.
And the crown pivotal point today focuses on the 2 crafty veterans, Roger McPhee and Louis Bork, teaming up for the first time ever in their lives, and they take home a 3rd place finish at the water boil.
And it could have been the hot saw competition that cost them. Nate Cumberland not quite close enough for the Marcel Dupuis, winning the overall championships with 500 points.
So our Lumberjacks of the day today in the ladies division. Kelly Bonus wrapping up with 450 points with 3 first-place finishes and 2 second-place finishes. In the men's division, Marcel Dupuis takes it with 500 points.
What a great job by Charles McNair and his entire organizing crew. A lot of fantastic sponsors on board for a 3rd annual event. Hopefully they have many more years to come. Come back again next week when it'll be time for Lumberjacks. And yes, there are a few expenses involved with putting on a Lumberjack competition, including the prize money for all the athletes. Many thanks to all these sponsors.
Lumberjacks is sponsored by Echo, only professional grade with 5-year warranty. Crown, protect, maintain, save. Dickies, quality workwear since 1922. Yamaha, rev your heart.
Just telling you about the struggles you've been having.
Yeah, no, haven't been cutting them very good. I've had subway fingers the last couple times I've gone to do it, and the axe is slipping, so had to wipe that off, and thank the good Lord that one went good.
Subway fingers?
Subway fingers, yeah. You know, if you ever have Subway, you get that grease on your hands. You just got to clean that off really good before you chop, or else just your hands start slicking around. It's not good.
So a little bit of Purell will take care of that, or a little bit of Johnson & Johnson baby powder?
That crown that you guys give us, that works good too. It cleans that right off. It's good stuff.
Happy with that cut?
Very happy, yeah. Very blessed for the cut. Thank you very much.